Today, I wanted to talk about process art. And this topic came about because I have been in touch with Vanessa Levin from Pre K Pages, and she is having a summit this summer, this July. It's called the Soar to Success Summit, and it focuses in on the needs of pre-K teachers. She is from prekpages.com. And her summit is actually focusing this year on executive functioning skills. And she invited me to be one of the speakers at this summit. And of course, I'm going to be talking about arts integration, SEAL, and how that all ties into executive functioning skills. There's so many amazing presenters and speakers at this summit. I would love to invite you to join us. All right, so here is the website. I'll put it in the show notes. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com Pre-K Summit. So that's theinspiredclassroom.com/Pre-K Summit, where you can sign up. It is a no-cost summit where you can learn from so many amazing presenters. And when you listen to my presentation, one of the things we're going to be talking about is process art. So I'm going to give you a little teaser about what that is and how that plays into social emotional learning right now. What do the arts have to do with learning in SEL? Oh, so much. Join me as we explore the depths of how these things come together through SEAL, social, emotional, artistic learning. We'll look at the mindset, the methods, and the integrations that make SEAL so effective. So plug yourself in. It's time to get inspired. Hello, everybody. Elizabeth Peterson here from the Inspired Classrooms podcast. Today, we're talking about process art and what that is and how that plays into our classrooms, not just for pre-K teachers, we'll talk about that in a moment, but for really everybody. All right, so first, I want to tackle what is process art. Well, that is when you are instructing your students in the arts, but it's child-directed or student-directed. It's driven by them making choices and having the opportunity to just really discover and explore what's in front of them. So you might have out on a table or in a center or in a special box in your room some materials, and you give them free time, free exploration time to work on whatever it is they want to explore. The key is process art. That means we're really focusing on the creative process, which I think is just such an amazing thing. I'd also like to think, now I'm not a pre-K teacher, I've worked with many in the past. I would like to think that many pre-K teachers have the time and the space to have these opportunities for their students. Now, this could be a whole other podcast topic, but I will touch on this right now. And the idea that this type of learning and the learning experiences that students can have with something like process art is so important. And I feel like the time that is given to teachers to provide this for their students is dwindling. I've seen it happen in kindergarten classrooms, and heard about it all over the country, which is very, very sad. And so I think I want to challenge you to really think about what is process art. We'll talk about that now, why it's so important, and advocate for it. Whether or not you are a pre-K or a K teacher, that doesn't matter. Giving children, young children, time to discover and explore a variety of materials is just so important. It's that creative process of them exploring things, trying things, and really finding out what it is that they enjoy. All right, it's like play. we don't have enough play in our classrooms. We also need more of that. We need this type of art making inside of the classrooms as well. All right, so exploring and creating, trying new things with new materials. But here's the thing. There's such an amazing connection to social and emotional learning here too. Because when you're giving children the opportunity to really explore things, that is allowing them in an age-appropriate way to focus on their own self-awareness. Looking at, what do they enjoy working with? Do they gravitate towards paint? Do they love clay? Do they like building things? When they do paint, are they expressing their emotions? Are they just, looking at how they use the materials is also a great way to ask them, inquire how they're feeling. What I feel is such an important part of this idea of process art in the classroom is that it also allows for so many good conversations between adult and child, even between students themselves. It gives them the opportunity to really reflect on what it is that they're using, what it is that they're making, and how, what's kind of going on in their mind as they're going through the creative process. The creative process is just such an amazing thing. The creative process is a learning process, right? And what it does is when you have a safe environment for this, when you allow for process art in your classroom, what you're doing is you're giving students the opportunity to practice some really important skills that do fall under social and emotional learning. Things like perseverance, taking risks as they're trying new things, new materials, and really exploring the various ways that they can use them. And also making mistakes. I mean, how many times have you fiddled with something, right? And, you do something that you consider is wrong. And your reaction to that, or a child's reaction to that, and how they pick up the pieces and move on from there is so very important. Now, I know that I've had many experiences with students who make a wrong mark on a paper or do something that they consider is a mistake. Well, that gives you the opportunity to have one of those amazing conversations with them. Are they going to work with that mistake and see what comes about from it? Or are they going to let that mistake go and move on from it and take a lesson from it? So again, giving students the opportunity to really have some conversations about the work that they're doing while they're engrossed in this creative process art is amazing. Now, how can you foster this in your classroom? Well, I really don't think that this is just for pre-K and K teachers, this idea of utilizing process art in the classroom. Unfortunately, as students get older, maybe the opportunities are a little bit more limited. We generally don't have, in middle school and even upper elementary and high school, we usually don't have what we would consider, tables of materials where students have lots of time to explore different materials and the such. But there are ways that you can put this type of learning into your classroom, no matter what grade levels that you teach. For example, you might have a center if you have a corner in your classroom, or a table, or even a desk where you keep a box of materials inside of it, and a student can go over and take that box out of the desk and put it on top and explore with it. Maybe you have open-ended assignments where you give the students opportunities to really explore different ways that they can process the learning that they've done and then come out with ultimately a product. But here's the thing. this is different than product art, right? The focus is not on what comes out at the end. The focus is not on, oh, you made a great illustration or a great painting, let's let it dry so you can take it home. That's not the focus. The focus is on the process, having the conversations with the students, maybe even sitting next to them and working with them and watching and observing what they're doing. And it's giving students time. Again, my hope is that if you do teach the littles, that you are able to give your students that time for that free exploration at some process art tables. But you know what? For even upper elementary, middle school, maybe even high school, giving students that time to really work through the process of what it is they're creating is so beneficial, so beneficial. And then you can focus on their journey of inception of what they're doing and muddling through the process to get to the end result. And focusing in on that muddling through inside your classroom can be where the real benefits come out. For example, years ago, I worked with 2 high school English teachers who were studying the Odyssey. And they came up with, they took a course with me, and they came up with the most amazing unit on the Odyssey. And part of it was allowing the students to design their own response to some prompts that they had given about the book, about the story. And the key component was that they didn't just assign it and give the kids maybe a class to figure it out and then the rest was for homework. They gave ample time during class to work on it. But it didn't even stop there, because there were checkpoints during that process that they would talk to the teacher, or they would talk with their group mates, or they would talk with other classmates, so that they could really focus on all the various, obstacles and hoops that they needed to go through, and mistakes that they were making, and things that were happening as they were going through the process of creating the art that they would then utilize for the final assignment. So I want you to be thinking about how this can play a part in your classroom. How can this be a benefit to your students' learning? And the next time that you're doing even the smallest of assignments, how can you use that time between assigning the assignment and collecting the assignment? How can you use that middle part where kids are muddling through the assignment? How can you use some of the concepts of process art and the beauty of the outcomes that come from that? How can you use that in your classroom to make your students' learning even that more rich? It's all about the process. One of my favorite quotes from when I was getting my master's degree, one of my professors would always tell us, trust the process. Trust the process. And so often we all want things to be done quickly. We want things to be done perfectly or just really, really well. And we lose that focus on the process. And so I encourage you to think about how you can use some of these ideas of process art inside your classroom as well. All right, and I hope that you consider joining us for the Soar to Success Summit, which will be in July, very, very soon. If you're listening to this when it's being put out, very soon, July of 2023. And I believe that even after, you might still be able to sign up and get access in some way, shape, or form. So make sure you do that. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/Pre K Summit, and I can't wait to see you inside there. It's a free summit with so many amazing presenters and speakers, all talking about how Pre K teachers and K teachers can really help their students with executive functioning skills. All right, until the next time, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe as we continue talking about arts, learning, and SEL through SEAL, Social, Emotional, Artistic Learning. If you want to learn more, go to theinspiredclassroom.com. My name's Elizabeth Peterson, reminding you to get inspired so that you can be inspiring to your students.